Nate Jacobs scum.
Guys? Did I hear a little rat squeak?
Okay, I can't even put on Grey's Anatomy again, but y'all can't judge me, okay? This is the scene where Izzy does that fucking foolish thing with Denny. Hi, my name is Lydia. Welcome to Lydia Docs. This is my channel. I do some vlogs and lifestyles as well as some character analysis. I want to be mainly known for my character analysis, I would say, where I just take one of my favorite shows, take a couple characters that I like, or sometimes the whole fucking cast, and just kind of analyze them, explain why I think they make good characters, and go from there, basically. My Instagram, my TikTok, I'm gonna be more active on my TikTok just because I have the time now. The whole fucking world does. My latest video was a video about decluttering my room that you can that I talk a little bit about Grey's Anatomy. I do want to make a more extensive video on Grey's Anatomy, like what character I think is the best based off like character arc and like how, like based on how they're written essentially. What else did I do? Yeah, I also did a video on Steve Harrington, basically explaining why he's a great character. While I was on break, I had this whole thing on my Instagram called my quarantine vlog challenges, and essentially what I was doing is doing a whole bunch of things that I've always wanted to do during this quarantine. That was when I knew it was 2 weeks. Now it's probably looking more to like 2 months, but still gonna try and update it as much as I can. What I'm doing right now is essentially like kind of going through all the whole list and picking out a couple things, and on my list was watching Euphoria. So I watched Euphoria and I have some thoughts. Obviously I'm making a video on Nate Jacobs. I think he was very well written for essentially the trope that he was meant to play, for the antagonist of the story, for the main antagonist in the story. I think he was very well written. I'm gonna dissect him a little bit, and y'all can write your opinions down below. But subscribe, like the video, and let's get this show on the road. So a little backstory on the show as I like to begin. So Euphoria is a show that came out last year during the summer. It's basically an HBO produced show starring Zendaya, who is a troubled teen drug addict. The show kind of focuses on her friends and her dealing with this and how her parents are, and essentially why the way she is. It touches a lot on mental health, sexuality, basically like a really hyped up Gen Z version of like the Grassy. That's how I see it. Nate Jacobs is a character on the show that I think was very well written. Nate Jacobs is a character that is supposed to be the main human on human antagonist of the show. Starts off the show as the typical, you know, jock trope. Like,
so he's very, you know, obnoxious, narcissistic, self-absorbed, very vulgar.
1 hour later.
Everyone more about me, quarterback. He has some misogynistic tendency. Every trope, stereotype you can think of, Nate Jacobs had it.
Nate Jacobs had it. What I want to dive into is how essentially the writers decided to take that stereotype and kind of made it different. They added a few complexities to his character, and I wouldn't even say they added so much complexity, except that they did more of a deep dive to why he is the way he is. Still, I will still say Nate Jacobs scum. He is, but that's the whole point of the show, right? The writers made him so he was like this. Also, pretty sure he's a sociopath. I'm 100% sure he's a sociopath. I have like 2 big chunks of like that I want to kind of dive in with his character, but I'm just gonna give you guys a summary of his character and essentially how we're introduced to him. If I look over it here a lot, it's because I have notes and my printer is out of toner.
And I'm broke right now, aren't we all? And I do not want to buy more, so excuse that. Just ignore it, you're fine.
So we're first introduced to Nate Jacobs' character after a small interaction that he has with Rue. She's going to Fezco to get more drugs, and he happens to be there as well, obviously buying some more drugs too. And we get this is before his cold open, so before episode 2, we get a little bit of an idea of who his character is going to be. Rue described him as this guy that she almost figured her during Family Formal. We already know what kind of character he's going to be. He literally kind of smirks at her and yells something at her. So he yells some profanities at her off the bat. Then there's a scene where he's in the car with McKay. From this we get the impression that he's just arrogant and self-absorbed. as essentially as McKay is showing some concerns about having a party at his house since his parents might find out, and Nate is just completely disregarding him in the sense of he's just like, don't worry about it, like stop being anal, blah 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 blah.
Think of all the pussy you're gonna get.
This is also very telling that he just broke up with his girlfriend Maddie, which is probably why he wants to quote unquote get a lot of pussy. Whatever. Then right afterwards, we're shown more about his character as we are introduced to a little bit to Jules as she's riding her bike, as he vulgarly shouts out his window some profanities to her, making her fall off her bike, and it's just kind of like he's just catcalling her basically, and it's just kind of like proud of himself. We know what we need to know about his character. From that get-go, we know what he's set up to be. I would say they start really diving into like the psychology and the trauma that his character has around episode 2. Episode 2 is when we finally get his cold open. So in the show, they do a lot of these cold opens where they quickly introduce a character, usually narrated by Rue. It's usually stuff that she knows about the character. Now, my whole thing about this, and this is a side note, she does say in the show that she's an unreliable narrator, but she's narrating all the cold opens. So what can we take from that? That's why I'm not sure about like what to believe what she's telling us. So I'm gonna take into the fact that like these cold opens are supposed to be factual, and hopefully we're not told otherwise. During Nate's cold open, we discovered that he discovered his father's homemade pornography, which is also revealing that his father is also not faithful to his mother. In the videos, he's usually being more dominant towards towards his partners, to the point where you can tell that this is something that he likes. He usually goes after petite women or even men, which is also another revelation for Nate too. So Nate's watching these videos. We get from the cold open, we already can tell that his father is very much controlling, and so is Nate. So he's essentially impacted by seeing that. He goes in his room because his dad's coming home, and then his dad basically gives this spiel about like he thinks he's the greatest and how he sees so much potential in him, which basically makes Nate get like a little bit of a golden child syndrome. So after that, Nate basically wants to be the image that his dad perceives him to be, so he decides to work out, become the, get a perfect girlfriend, become the star quarterback, blah 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 blah, making his father proud, blah 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 blah. Except there's still that a little bit of that like resentment that he holds towards his father. I'm gonna go into like 3 big things that I think define Nate's character, and then kind of go from there. So like I said, I just gave a quick summary about like how he's introduced, what was expected to him, what is expected for him during the whole series, and what we expect him. And I'm gonna essentially explain how I feel the writers kind of changed that a little bit. So instead of just taking that typical trope of like he, like, because we've gotten like the typical like trope of like jock football, maybe gay, daddy issue. Like this is nothing new, but I think that because they went into so much detail and they've added so much complexities into his character, that's what made him a bit more real and unique to the story. So Nate is definitely repressing something. I'm more inclined to believe though that it's more to do with, and this is because my brother and I were talking about this, and at first I was like, no, he's gay, no, he's pen, and then I realized I was trying to put a label on it, and I don't want to dive too much into like queer theory, but like just hold up for it, just before y'all say it, because I know some people are, I've read a lot of like interpretations and like people having their own take on what they think Nate's sexuality is, and I definitely think he's definitely sexual fluid. Like he's fluid. Like I don't think he's 100% straight, but I can pigeonhole him into some kind of label because we're getting some evidence that's showing otherwise. Let me explain. So Nate is definitely repressing something, and I think it has a lot to do with the fact that he's trying to keep up this facade that his dad had pressure on him to keep. And essentially, I also think it's because he doesn't want to be like his dad that he's repressing said feelings he has towards the same gender. So what we know from Nate's dad is that he is, once again, I don't want to put labels. I can assume he's pansexual, or once again, sexual fluid, like fluid. Information that we're given is that Cal, Nate's dad, is definitely, he likes to dominate people, like his
Tinder profile is dominate daddy or something like that. Like, first of all, that profile can, how's that profile name not taken? How? It's just, I mean, really? It's not taken? Are you sure?
but that's his profile name. So, and then from what we see from the tapes, he likes to dominate on people. Nate has definitely inherited those traits as well. We can see that with the way he acts with Maddie, as well as even with Jules. He kind of imitates his father's actions towards Jules, which is interesting to see. Like I said, I'm not a psychologist, so I don't want to deep dive in that, but thought that was very interesting. I think that the reason why Nate usually wants to dominate people is because it usually means like you're in power, you're in control. I honestly think that the fact that he likes to dominate has to do more with control than anything else. Yeah, so his father likes to like dominate people, usually people with smaller figures, like petite figures. It doesn't matter if they're female or male. But from what you know, Nate does not want to have intercourse with a man per se. And here's why I don't think that, because even though he's attracted, I think he has more an attractive towards the genitalia, it's more towards the phallic. I don't think, and I know some people are going to be like, well, he's attracted to Jules, but Jules is still considered a woman. She's a trans woman, but she's still considered a woman. The only thing is that she has like a male genitals. So, and then from what I can understand and what the evidence we've seen with Nate, I think that he doesn't mind. If I'm being honest, I don't think he minds it. Like, he has it on his phone. I think, yeah, him trying not to look at penises while he's in the change room definitely implies that he's trying to hide some part of it, but I don't think he necessarily has a problem with penis. I think to him it doesn't matter. I do think he has attraction towards petite feminine like people. We have yet to see any evidence of him being attracted to a male with male genitals. We just know that he likes petite feminine women, people who identify as women. That's what we know. That's what we know, and that's what we can take. That's why I'm more inclined to believe that he's sexual fluid more than anything. But like I said, that's for interpretation. And I feel like, you know what, maybe the writers like added like all this foreshadowing with like in his hint of like in the whole penis on the phone thing and blah blah blah. Maybe they're trying to foreshadow to him being gay in season 2. That would be interesting, but I don't think they went about it the right way, because they didn't, like I said, there was nowhere in the show did Nate show any attraction. Like, he showed no even like, there was even any inkling that he was attracted to male. Like, he likes penis. But like, once again, I don't want to go into queer theory too much, but like, if you like penis, but you're not attracted to male, does that mean he could be attracted to men, and then maybe the writers like didn't want to even like, I feel like because there would be some kind of hint to it, but maybe the writers, maybe he's like repressing it so deep that he won't even show any attraction and like any sign of attraction towards a man. I don't know, to me it just seems like he's just more open to the idea of being with a woman who has a penis. So he's more open, he's more sexual fluid than like most straight guys. But even that to him is a part of himself that he resents, because his dad clearly doesn't care. Like, clearly his dad is somewhere between the line of like pansexual or bi, clearly. So I think any part that reminds him of his dad in that way, he wants to completely like reject, right? So that's that. I will say, side note, so there was a little bit when Nate was young and his dad would hide all his like his pornography, like his homemade pornography. I always wonder if that could also imply that he was like that his father was also ashamed of it. Like, I mean, I know like he had to be secretive about this because it's an affair, but I wonder if like in an alternate universe, if Cal and Nate's mother had divorced and you know Cal was openly dating people, would he be open to like being more open? Would he be more open about his sexuality? I mean, my guess is no, because I think Cal, like Nate, wants to keep up this image. He wants to keep up this image of being like, who has, you know, this tough alpha male who plays football, who's coach, who has the best chili in town. Like, he wants to have that persona, right? So I don't think it would, but I think just by showcasing that, I think it showcased Nate that there's something to be ashamed of. now we're gonna go into Nate's OCD slash controlling slash building this facade of himself. I think that's a very, once again, very common trope that you see a lot of like the footballer, because like a lot of them are like, well, they're not actually as mean or as homophobic or whatever. They're not. It's always like it's always an image, right? So that's definitely very common. But we dive a little bit deeper into that. So and once again, I'm trying not to be like I'm a psychologist. I'm diagnosing a fictional character. Like I'm trying not to, but like it's a little hard to. But I honestly believe that Nate shows some signs of being OCD or having some kind of form of it. Like he's so obsessed with control, to the point that it's I would say like his main like flaw is that he wants to essentially have a lot of control on situations, or even his ego, because that would probably tie into that. But I feel like they really go hand in hand, right? So Nate harbored this wanting of control, like this sense of controlling everything by his father. But I also think it's also formed. So like I said before, I think that Nate has the golden child syndrome. So his father basically like enlisted this idea that like, hey, I believe that you are this, this, and this, and then Nate was like, I'm gonna make myself this and this because you believe I'm this and this and this. So it's definitely like, I want to please daddy, but then there's also this huge resentment towards his dad. So anyways, there's this obsessiveness to like want control. So he controls every aspect of his life, to the point that not only does he control every aspect of his life, but he also controls every aspect in other people's life, or anybody who's surrounding him that's gonna help build him up. That's my theory on why like he likes Maddie so much. I'm still on the fence on whether or not he loves her, or he's in love with her, or he's in love with the idea that he's in love with the image that she builds for him, essentially, and which I think is more that than it is anything else. So if Nate doesn't control every aspect of his life, and if it doesn't go his way, he gets mad. He gets mad to the sense where he just has almost like these like OCD tantrums. Like he can't not like have control. For example, there was like an instant where like even if he thinks that something's gonna go out of control, he tries to take a hold of it before it spins out of control. So for example, like with Maddie, Maddie and the guy, whatever, said she was fucking in the pool. He took control of the situation and then dealt with him. Then he dealt with a similar situation with his father, like when he thought that Jules might expose his father, even though she had no intentions to do it, he still decided to take it upon himself and control the situation. Also, side note, his attraction to Jules is very, like, I would say obvious. I think you can definitely, like, even when I was watching the first 3 episodes, and I could see the attraction that he had for Jules was very obvious. But I don't know. My thing with like I said, like I believe that he loves Maddie, but I think that the thing with Jules is that it's almost this forbidden thing, because Jules is just trans. It's a trans woman. He even though he's trying to stop his attraction towards her, it's clearly there. But I think the idea that, like, once again, the idea of even going near anybody like that resembles that sexual fluidity, he's just against it. But then there's also that whole thing of like, well, is he just attracted to Jules because she slept with his father? I also feel that's also where his heroism comes in, like the fact that he just wants to be the hero in every situation. There is this whole misconception that people believe that, like, oh, well, he thinks he's doing the right thing. I'm like, I think Nate is very aware that he's doing the wrong thing for the most part. Like, he knows what he's doing. He just doesn't care because it's gonna better him in some way, so he doesn't care. No, I think there's definitely some enjoyment in being the hero and like beating up the guy that, you know, Maddie slept with, or, you know, blackmailing Jules. There's a sick twisted joy in it, or even, you know, ratting out Fezco. Fezco's, by the way, for people who think like he's a very character, he's not. Like, he's very well written, but Fezco, because anybody who knows, listen, I need a second, because Fezco, I am waiting until season 2 to do a video on Fezco. Don't worry, there will be a video on Fezco. Don't even worry, honey. Don't even. My take on the final episode is very interesting. This is where I believe this is where essentially it all comes together, where I believe that he has OCD, and I think this was an OCD tantrum. So the final episode what we see of Nate is that he's trying to be with Maddie, but he isn't able to get her. So, and then Maddie's like, well, what the fuck's going on? Blah, 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 blah. And then he's like, well, it's because you told that rumor about me and everybody thinks I'm gay, so now I can't perform. I'm just stressed. Like, I'm stressed because of that. Okay. So I think the fact that he's losing control over, because he's the king of school, he's the king of everything, like he's the alpha, he wants, so the fact that he's losing control over his image, over the school, is getting to him. It's definitely getting to him, right? So he's obviously unable to perform. That's one. Then after the, and then there's
So there's a whole scene where he's masturbating to himself in the mirror. Like I said, I'm not a psychology major, so I can't go into that, but that's definitely something, right? That's definitely, that doesn't sound like.
Then there's that whole bit where afterwards there's a match, there's a football match, and he like his team wins, but like his dad basically comes up to him and is like, after the match, and is like, yo, you won, but like you had no control over your team. And that kind of like triggers him. Nate legit takes like a deep breath in, and you can tell he's trying to regain control of the situation, because it's clear that like his father had the power over him. So he tries to take control of the situation and overpower his father. It doesn't work out. They get into this huge altercation, which was like heartbreaking to see. Really well acted though. Like, props. Anyways, get into this huge altercation, and then I think it's when Nate kind of realizes that he doesn't have control anymore, is when he realizes that like, it's when he starts to panic. It's when he starts to get angry and he gets emotional and he just legit throws a fit. I honestly believe I've seen kids with like severe OCD have like tantrums like this. Like, it looks very similar. I'm just saying it looks very similar, because I did look some up and everything like that for my research, but it looks very similar, and I think that's what happened. I think he realized he didn't have any control over the situation. He got angry and it just bubbled into something, and he had to let it out somehow. So that's my whole take on him having OCD. I mean, there's other proofs, I would say. Like, he's just very meticulous about everything. Like, it's a little creepy, you know what I mean? Like, and he's very manipulative. I would also say there's also that scene at the end where he's talking to Rue and he tells her she looks very pretty. I truly believe that was his way of manipulating, because Rue basically threatened him. And I find that usually when people threaten him, he finds a way to manipulate them or gets them in jail. I don't know. But I think with Rue, what he was trying to do is maybe charm her, because he realized that he was able to charm Jules, because Jules has this weird connection with Nate. So I think that he was trying to manipulate Rue in a sense, to kind of like play on her heartstring, but it was like Rue was like, bitch, what are you trying to do? Like, it ain't gonna work. That's my whole take on the last scene. I could be wrong. He could have just been being nice, but like, Nate is not that type of person to just be nice for the sake of being nice. It has to better him in some way, you know? So that's my take on Nate. What do you guys think? Because I feel like there's a lot, I could have gotten to a lot more stuff. I've read like different articles. Also, there was a lot of people who interpreted that last scene that like Nate might have been sexually assaulted. I don't think so, because Cal's a lot of things. Cal's not a rapist. From what we know of Cal, he's not the type to do I'm taking that back. Well, he likes to dominate over people, but I don't think he would necessarily rape his own boys. I could be wrong, maybe some people, but I feel like that was a little too deep. But also, we're wondering, because it's been introduced in his cold open, he has 3 brothers, but we're only introduced to 1. So where's the other brother?
It's me again. I look really bad, but anyways, I was trying to say that we are shown in the cold open that Nate has actually 2 older siblings, or 2 brothers essentially, but we are only shown the 1. So I was wondering, my theory is that maybe the other brother was maybe sexually assaulted and like departed himself from the family, or estranged himself from the family because he was tired of it, and Nate decided to just kind of play along because he had so much to lose. I don't know. That was my theory, but it doesn't really make much sense, and I don't think like the math don't add up for it to make sense, you know.
But I don't think it was a rape. I think that's a bit of a reach. My thing is I'm very much with this show, because with reading I find that like you have to read between lines, but with this show, with shows, I try to just like take what I'm given and then dissect that until I'm told otherwise, essentially. Then that's when I start being like, okay, maybe this is. But for this show, I think I feel like the show, because it was so good with the writing, if there's anything that the show wanted to see, if there's anything that the show wanted you to know, they would have given it to you. Does that make sense? Like, I feel like if they were gonna make Nate a victim of sexual assault, we would have gotten a lot more evidence towards that. And I mean, maybe there is, like, I don't know, maybe there's just like there is, and maybe I'm not looking into it as deep as some of you guys are, but because it's writing, the writers, I feel like they seem like they know what they were doing, like, for the most part, and they're really good at just giving us like what we need to know about said characters to get to know them, especially with these like quick cold opens. I feel like we would have gotten more information. But then again, if the colds open, because once again the cold open, this is tying back to my point in the beginning of the video, if Rue is the one who's narrating the cold opens, she might not know that Nate was sexually assaulted, so she wouldn't be able to provide us that information. But still, I still believe there would have been more evidence towards that. I don't know. Nate, very well written for, like, that's the whole thing about my whole conclusion about Nate is that he was a very well written antagonist, and they added a lot more nuance to his character of like the trope of like the bully jock character. I wouldn't even say nuance. A lot of times when you're dissecting a jock, we're just told like he's a bully, he's a bad guy, he may be gay, like that. We're not really dived into it, so they really added a lot more layers to him and it's just surface level stuff. So I really did enjoy that. But that's it. You guys can comment your favorite character below. If it's not Fezco, then y'all can choke. No, Fezco's my favorite character. I'm very excited to see his cold open next season, which I feel like with his popularity is a given. Also really like Lexi. I don't know why they didn't really dive into her character a lot more. I think she has more of a, there's definitely a complex for her sister, because she's like, Cassie's like a pretty popular girl and she's Lexi. I do like Lexi and Rue more than like Lexi and Jules. I'm sorry. Jules I love as an individual character. I just feel like Jules can't be really tied down. That's just, I get this impression of her, like she just can't, you know what I mean? I don't know, that's my impression of her, but love her. Nate, you guys know about McKay is also a character that I may dissect more into season 2. I will always say that the duality between McKay and Nate, very interesting, because they both suffer from like the daddy, it had put too much pressure on me to become the star syndrome, like the golden child syndrome. But Nate kind of decides to take that and I guess be more proactive with it, whereas McKay doesn't. Like McKay just kind of realizes like, oh, okay, I'm not this golden child, I can't live with this, and just kind of deflates. So I'm not a huge fan of McKay's characters. I feel like there could have been more to him. I really wish it would have tied in something to do with like him being black in school. I think that would have been, because there's definitely something there that they could have written about. But
I'm asking for too much.
Okay guys, I'm gonna go. The world is shit right now, so please stay safe. There will be a video on me. I have a video about me ranting about Miss Rona and capitalist bullshit. So I will be posting that later on in the week. They should be up on Sunday or Monday. I don't know which yet, but you will see this on Sunday or Monday. So yes. And then what else? I'm trying to do a lot more with my channel and stuff like that, because I want to see like what I definitely want to stick with character analysis. I want to get better at them, but I'm playing around with my other content and see what I like. But yeah, I think that's it for today, guys. Follow me on my Instagram. I post stories daily. I post like 2 or 3 stories daily, so if you guys really want to like snoop my life, you guys can definitely do it. Follow me on TikTok. I'm gonna try to do like a challenge where I just post, let's say, okay, I'm gonna try to post like 4 TikToks a week. I feel like that's a good number. So I'm gonna post, I'm legit about to put like 4 today, and then we'll see how that goes. But thank you guys for watching. Subscribe to my channel if you like my personality, if you want more. My next video is going to be about every character on Grey's Anatomy and who's the best, and dissecting that. And then you can also check out my Apple Chris Miss Rona video as well, that's coming up soon. But like this video, share this video, and I will see you guys later. Bye.
Bitch, I'm a